for maybe 5 hours in the last 10 days. Gray, cloudy. People have no idea what it's like to live in Illinois, Detroit, Wisconsin. It's gray and cloudy the whole time. And boy, Christmas is great. And boy, New Year's is great. But then guess what happened last Monday, January 5th? Back to the same old, same old. And I talked to this woman yesterday, 45-minute commute one way. And it's on a rainy day like today, hour and a half. Every day, both ways. And there's no feeling of significance. Why do you do that? I need a paycheck. I got to give a paycheck. And there's no hope, John, that it'll ever get any better. The thing that we provide, and Art Williams coined this, you notice, John, I'm quoting Art Williams a great deal. He is a master architect. I hope you listen to that video that he just did on, what's it called, John? I want to be somebody or something like that. Thanks for putting that on.
Yes, sir.
If you're the right kind of person, it hits you in a certain way. I don't know how, John. I don't know how any red-blooded human being, I'll talk about men now, because I can't identify with the women who are doing the business from all the stuff they go through. I can identify with men. How can you go watch a movie like Braveheart and you go home to your job the next day? How do you watch a movie like Rudy and not want to go out there and conquer the world and do something? You got this inner energy in you that's bursting out. And like Art Williams said, the best days of our life are in high school, where you put on that uniform, you feel like you're special. You know, I remember I wasn't a great athlete, but I lettered in 3 sports, believe it or not, and baseball, football, and swimming. I was on a swim team, football team, and baseball team. And I had a Letterman's club. But I remember we had a thing at the school, and the coaches were smart. They made sure the girlfriends were there. And oh my gosh, the energy level you get when you know your girlfriend or some girls are looking at you. And I remember I was on a baseball team. I was the third baseman, and 4 girls came out to watch me play. I was into it. Then what happened on June the 6th of that year? I graduated, and then nothing. I didn't have a uniform to put on. We want them to see us different. We want them to we want them to feel like we need to be put on a pedestal for them. And I remember one time looking at my wife, Carol, and I got very emotional when, without getting philosophical, if I'm not already, women need love. I mean, if you see a woman, I got daughters, I've got daughter-in-laws, I've got granddaughters. They thrive on love and being loved. And they have this yearning to just love me, hold me, hug me. And they thrive on love. You know what men thrive on? Respect. We don't get motivated by love like a woman does. But man, we thrive on respect. I wanted Art Williams, not love, I wanted his respect. I wanted the respect of a Mike Tuttle. I wanted the respect of the people that I admired. And the concern that I had was letting them down, thinking I was less than. I'm writing another book. It'll be out this spring. And I talked to my editor yesterday, and the biggest thing that Art drove us on was you can find your arena here. You can belong here. You can put the uniform on. You can feel special here. I wear the uniform of Primerica. I'm a Primerica player. I'm not just Primerica bench player. I'm a Primerica player on the field where everybody knows your name. Don't you want everyone to know your name? Don't you want everyone to admire you? Don't you want to be called one day, John, and say, John, we need to have you as a guest speaker. Wow, you got to come. You got some value here. You're not even in our hierarchy. Don't you want to be called by Julie Seaman and say, John, you got to come to Atlanta. We need you on our Saturday training. Our Monday training. John, we got the convention coming up. You're a speaker, John. You're going to have special seating. You're going to go to the green room in the back. You're going to get a standing ovation. John, you're going to be memorialized on a video for history. People will be able to plug in a POL and hear you speak, and hear you speaking in front of 53,000 people. Ain't that something? Ain't that dadgum something? There's something about striving for more, the ultimate more. The curse of life is when you wake up one day wanting to be somebody so bad that you can't even explain it to anybody. And the answer that comes back is, this is all there is. There ain't no more. I get up every day knowing I can change my world. Every day. I got up this morning. I could not wait for this. My sister, she can't change her life. She's waiting for her body to heal. She's going through rehab now, and she's depending upon therapists to get her legs back into shape so she can walk around. By the way, if you're in a bed for a week, you lose 50% of your strength. And she was in bed for a week, and it's going to take her 10 days to get back to where she was. So, John, we today is monumental. It's our first real big, significant training that I'm involved in since the first of the year. We had a senior leadership meeting 2 days ago on Zoom, and I was on every second. Why? Because I want to be somebody in this company. I want to be somebody in the eyes of people that I admire and I respect, and I want their respect. I never want anyone to ever say, whatever happened to Bill Orender? I heard this the other day. Talked to my editor. I interviewed people, and she said, I didn't know they were alive. How many people are not even going to know when you pass away? Because you're not that significant in their life. I know this. We've got 16,000 widows that are saying, thank God. Thank God for those people. Thank God somebody made a phone call. Thank God somebody got licensed. Thank God somebody came to my house. Where would I be today? Like my sister, where would I be today if I'd not been in this business? If I'd been in the plastics business or the Coca-Cola business or the entertainment business? Here, I am stunned beyond belief that our names are not on the front pages of newspapers. That the Art Williams name, that's why I wrote all these books about art. Just watch him. How can you not want to be mentored by that guy? How can you not want to have him call you a friend? How can you not want your name mentioned with the John Roys and the Mary and Randall Walkers? How can you not want that? I had a boss at the steel company, and my life wasn't waking up trying to impress him. I wanted him to respect me because I'm a man. I want another man's respect. We are something special in this world. We've got over, John, 200,000 clients. We've paid 2 billion death claims. We've got $50 billion in life insurance in force, 200 plus RVPs, $4 or $5 million earners, countless people making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. And it all started when they came to an opportunity meeting. They all came with, well, I'm going to try that Saturday training thing out. I love it. I love it more than I can tell you. And I praise God and thank God that He ordained me and gave me this assignment. He gave me this field to work in. And God is incredible. You know, He said, it's like Him saying to you, I want you to build, I want you to have a field of plants that produce grapes. All right, God. Okay, good. I'll tend it, God. I'll do great. Oh, no, no. I'm giving you the field. And there's not one plant there. You got to get the plants. You got to multiply those plants. Now you can have a little plot. You can have a little, a quarter of an acre. I said, God, how many acres do you want me? He said, as far as the eye can see. That's how many plants I want you to plant out there. So we're not talking about plants, John. We're talking about people. God, I plant people. I'm not in Primerica. I'm not financial services. I am in the recruiting business of people. I am in a people getting business, people making better people, creating RVP business. And I'm proud of it. And my life's work is making Art Williams look good, the system look good, and getting more people to join. I can do $1 million trade in securities, and I'll feel good about that. But the point is, I'd rather get a recruit, change his life, change her life, give her an extra $1,000 a month, like you talk about, John. Change their life, give them some hope. Give them a business they can hand off to their children. Think about that. I fall off a cliff tomorrow, my $1 billion+ year income doesn't go away. It goes to my wife. She falls off a cliff the next day, goes to my son Patrick. Patrick falls off a cliff, goes to his son, Liam, in Lake. You see that? And then their children, children's children. I'm building, I created a acreage of people, thousands upon thousands and trillions of acres of people that we planted that are multiplying and creating an income for 200 years. Isn't that something? So, John, thanks very much for cooperating today and taking Tony's place. You can't take her place, but you can put your name in there. But, John, we got great training today, and I love it more than I can tell you. And the first speaker we have is Mike Brumfield, and Mike is going to talking about, and I got to put myself on mute for a second to answer something and that texted in. I've got to be on call for my sister, so make sure everything's good. But Mike's going to be talking about insurance. Is all insurance good? Is term insurance? Is term insurance? What difference does it make? Can I buy term insurance online? Well, what about group? I got plenty of group. I'm good. I don't need any more. I'm okay. So we have Mike Brumfield. Mike Brumfield.
Good morning, everybody. Well, once again, I had trouble finding my unmute. You think after a while I'd figure out where that button is, but here we are. So yeah, I'm going to talk about our term insurance, why our term insurance, what other types of insurance is out there for people, and then the kind of responses or the kind of conversations we can have with people about insurance. You know, the thing about insurance is it's complicated, and people become very anxious when they think about insurance and they start to shop and they start to ask questions. They know that it's possible that they can be taken advantage of. They know that it's a complicated issue. They know that they don't understand, but they really don't know where to get good answers. So what happens? They do nothing and they don't get coverage at all. I actually was one of the people who was reading books trying to figure out all this financial stuff. Guess what I did? Nothing. I read a book, then I read another book, I read another book. So when Bill came to my house, I had a bunch of books. Um, because one book would say, I got all the answers right here, just buy my product. Then the next book would say, oh no, I got all the answers right here, just buy my product. The guy who was teaching on debt said every problem can be solved by getting out of debt. The guy who taught insurance said, oh, you can retire with insurance and you can do all this great stuff. All you need is insurance. And the investment guy said, all you need is my kind of investment. So I did nothing until I actually talked to a human that could show me how money works. So that's where people are right now. Let me share my slide. They are wandering in the darkness. And most people you're going to sit down with, all they have is something called group insurance, which means they have coverage at work. And they think, oh, well, I'm okay, or I hope I'm okay. Because really, they know that there's probably a lack there, but no one's ever sat down and asked them any questions about it. I remember Hector Lamarck saying, if you say it, they doubt it. But if they say it, it's true. So the idea is to get them to say that they have a lack of coverage because they know it. They've just never been confronted with it. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So their group insurance is tied to their employment. That's the biggest problem right now, right there, because they're not going to be at the job forever. So if you have group insurance, it's tied to your employment. Do you love that job? No, I hate it, actually. You think you're going to be there forever? No, probably not. Well, what happens to your coverage when you leave? You lose your coverage. Then it's inadequate. How much do you have in coverage at work? Is it about 1 to 2 times your income? Okay.
Hey, Mike, are you sharing already?
Oh my goodness. I
I'm
thought
not
I
sure if you
did. You know those daggum
give it a
buttons,
shot
they don't
again.
just automatically do the thing, do they? Okay, here we
There we
go.
go.
All
I
right,
think we're
all
good
right,
now.
all right,
Thank you,
all
sir.
right. So they have inadequate coverage. They lack control. I've asked people, hey, can I see your policy? Well, I've never seen it. Why do you think you've never seen it? Because you don't own it. The company owns it. They have the policy. You have a certificate of insurance. Do you even know in what situation it would pay if you died? No, it's not yours. Unless you own it, you can't control it. And that's the conversation we want to have with people. And people don't know in what situation will it pay if I die? And then you want a policy that will pay if you die, period. That's what you want. Now, if I've already sat down with the family and we've had some conversations about the kids, what do your kids do? Oh, my kid plays basketball. And oh, my kid, for me, my kid wanted to be an engineer as soon as he ever heard the word engineer. Well, how much does college cost? Man, you start to think about those things and say, would 1 times my income allow my family to go on if I die? And then they start to realize I have a big hole in my game. I need to fix it. And when they find out it only costs a few dollars a day to fix it, it makes sense to go ahead, right? So this is from a law firm. Some of the reasons that group coverage ends up getting denied for people. Death occurred after the employee left the job. That, of course, that happens. They're not on the job anymore. The coverage is tied to the job. They pass away. It's not going to pay. Employee is on unpaid leave or long-term disability. The coverage lapses. We don't tend to die. We get sick and we die. So I worked with a guy. He missed a lot of time because he had a severe illness. But when he finally passed away, all of his benefits had expired. The job didn't have to pay. His policy didn't have to pay. Here's one. I didn't even know this until I researched this. HR failed to submit enrollment or supplemental paperwork. You see, because they own it. If they don't do their part, you're not covered. Outdated beneficiary forms. We always want to ask people, hey, if you have a policy, have you reviewed your beneficiaries lately? Have you updated those? Oh no, I had my mom on there. I'm married now. I need to update that.
Hey,
They haven't considered those things.
Mike,
Yes.
can you hit start slideshow from current slide up that top left so it'll be big
Oh, okay,
from
yeah.
current slide right there.
You think I've done this before.
I know
Huh?
you. There we go. All right, we good to go now. We in here.
So all kinds of problems can be made by the policy owner, the employer, that affect the employee and they have no control over it. Here's a real life example. A person whose husband died was denied the $200,000 group benefit. The employer had not informed them that the policy had ended. The employer said that the insurer claimed the policy lapsed. And this is from a law firm, and they had to sue to get the money. If you have to get a lawyer to sue to get the money from the insurance policy, what happens to the family in the meantime while that lawsuit is being filed? How many years does it take for that lawsuit to get through before they ever get a dollar? Don't you want coverage that will pay no matter how you die and will be guaranteed to pay you? Don't you want certainty? Don't you want peace of mind for your family? That's what we want to talk to people about. And then how about GoFundMe? People go, well, I'm going to go to GoFundMe, or I'm going to go buy direct from a insurance company. I'm going to go online and buy. Um, Only 10% of life insurance is bought direct to the consumer, where they go online, they shop, and then they buy. Most people will research online today, but then they expect to complete their purchase with an agent. So they go on and they shop for prices, and then they want to talk to a human because it's hard to understand. And then some cases of GoFundMe. How much money do people actually raise on these things? I looked on GoFundMe and they give you some coaching about how to set up a GoFundMe, and you got to have a good story and it's got to be emotional and you got to, do you really want your family doing that at the time that you pass away? Trying to tell a good story about what a good guy you were, and then some of your friends going, that dude wasn't that good. I got 25 bucks. I can contribute. Do you really want your family in that situation when you pass away? It's not that much money, y'all. Some people are going to raise, I saw one where they raised $80,000. How long does that last your family? And how much trouble did they have to go through to get it? So, it's just something that people haven't thought about. In the back of their mind, they're saying, oh, we could do this GoFundMe thing. But if you just ask the question, do you really want your family doing that? And I think most people would go, no, I don't want my family in that position when I pass away. Um, Again, a significant number of people will shop online, but this doesn't mean they'll buy. In 2021, only 6% of the people actually bought online. More buy now, but what's happening? They're getting taken advantage of because they don't understand. They're using social media. Some social media person tells them what to buy. That person's gone on to something else later. They're not a professional. They don't have the understanding. You're the expert. And the customer is just buying something that they don't understand, yet it's one of the most critical decisions they can make ever for their family. So they're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and TikTok. Can you imagine a 10, 20, 30-second video and you try to decide from there what to buy? It's crazy. So a lot of people look, but then they don't do anything about it. Just like I read a book and didn't buy anything. I did know, y'all, I did know enough about insurance that I was approached by a guy outside the credit union who tried to sell me whole life. I did know enough that we got into an argument and it ended up bad because I thought, man, you just try to rip me off. So now I was even more afraid than anything else to talk to a person because they were going to try to rip me off. So I didn't do anything until Bill sat down at my house. Why us? 91% of our claims are paid within 14 days. You know, this just happened recently for a friend of mine. We delivered a check to her family. Now, when I sat down with them, they didn't buy life insurance before me. They're more over 50 years old. Why? They didn't understand life insurance. They thought it cost too much. Until I sat down with them, until I kept following up with them, until I drove 4 hours to see them, they didn't buy life insurance. But we delivered a check to them in December. So unless we do it, y'all, people aren't going to do the right thing. They don't understand even what the right thing is to do. So we are a top rated company. And you know what I love about Primerica is we can't do anything that will hurt people. We don't have the garbage. We don't have those terrible policies to even bring to a person. So everything that we do for them is going to be in their best interest. Bill did offer me a financial needs analysis. So it wasn't just about my insurance. It helped me get my investment started. It helped me get a money market started for my emergency fund. It helped me understand my 401k better, so my money started growing better. All that came with an insurance policy. Who in the world can do that? And when I think about the benefits of our company, it's you. It's what you bring to the table. I mean, the company does great things. I mean, 91% of our claims paid in 14 days. We have the terminal illness benefit uh, uh, rider where a person can get a percentage of their policy if they're diagnosed as terminal. They can get a percentage of their policy and use it any way that they choose prior to death. So it might be a case where a person says, you know what, I'm going to take 40 or 50% of this policy benefit and I'm going to go to a holistic doctor and get my problem taken care of. And they can do that with that rider. Automatic increasing benefit rider. This was huge for me because when Bill sat down with me, I did not have enough money to get all the coverage I needed. But he told me, hey, for the next 10 years, our company is going to offer you an additional amount of coverage every year. And he said, never turn it down because if you ever turn it down, they won't offer it again. So each time it came up, they sent me a letter. I looked at the letter and said, you're going to get an additional 10% coverage. Your premium is going to go up by a few dollars a month. If you don't do anything, you get it. If you reject it, it stops. I just allowed it to continue. What happened later? Find out I'm type 1 diabetic. Uh-oh, but I'm still getting the increases. So that is a huge benefit of our policies because many times you sit down with people, they're not ready to spend the money they need to get all the coverage they need, but we can continue to add coverage. We have terms up to 35 years. We have flexible riders that can customize that policy to what that customer needs. Let's say they have kids that'll be in the home for the next 10 years. But then at some point they're grown and gone and taking care of themselves. Well, we can give them a customized rider for a 10-year period that covers when their kids are going to be there and when they have that responsibility. Later on, when that responsibility is gone, we can drop that rider. So, and you know, this is huge too. We show them the theory of decreasing responsibility, where we help them invest till they get to their financial independence number. So we get their money growing. Their need for insurance is constantly going down. Who can do that with a whole life policy? No one. No one. No one's doing it. We can help them have money so one day they don't need insurance. We help them get to the point that they're financially independent. So, as great as Primerica is and as great as the policies are that we offer, the most important thing is you. When you walk in, you are the expert. You may not think of yourself as an expert, but let me tell you, you are the expert. All the time that you spent understanding not just our product, but our competition's product, you are the expert and you are the person that's going to save their lives financially. I felt so good to know when I talked to my friend and she said, I called and said, I'm sorry for your loss. And I said, look, she said, I'm on my way to the funeral home. I go, okay, when you get there, give them your policy number. She goes, oh, the funeral's already paid for. Well, how's the funeral already paid for? She said, well, you set up an emergency fund. We did the job, y'all. We did the job. So, hey, you can feel good about what you do. Do the whole job for people, and it's going to work out great for you. It'll work out great for them. Thanks.
Mike, take a second to talk about the day Superman died.
Yeah. Okay. So, the day Superman died, Superman for me was my grandfather. And my grandfather, I would always say, you could set a clock by my grandfather. He was always where he was supposed to be when he was supposed to be. And I missed a part of this, what people say when you talk to them about life insurance. Well, when Bill talked to me and Yvonne about life insurance, he asked the question of the things that I talked about, retirement, emergency fund, insurance, what are you most concerned about? I said, retirement, investments. My wife said insurance. And I looked at her and said, I'm not going to die. That just popped out, y'all. I'm not going to die. That just popped out. Now, think about this. My grandfather died unexpectedly. He was killed in the line of duty. Now, Superman had died. When they woke me up to say, your grandfather passed away, I said, no, he didn't. I said, no, he didn't, because Superman can't die. But that death affected our lives for years and years and years. So get people to think about their kids, y'all. Because when I was in the 8th grade and wanted to play football, there was no money. My grandfather died when I was like 6 or 7, but Superman wasn't there. So I didn't play football until high school because now the school paid for it. When I wanted to do martial arts when I was like 8 or 9, oh, you can't do martial arts, son. There ain't no money because Superman died. So think about that when you look at that family, man. If that mom or that father dies, they pay for that not just for the next couple of years, they're going to pay for that for the rest of their lives.
Mike, a lot of times we get stiff armed by people and we fall into it. We're the biggest people that fall into traps. And those traps are, I've got plenty. I've got enough. Oh, I'm set. I'm good. I'm okay. And we need to take the time and comment on this, Mike, of saying, what's your definition of plenty? What's your definition of all right? And discuss that with them. And remember this, those words, when we start looking into them, will show you what they value the most. We want to find what they value. They value their family.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in their mind, I got plenty. I'm good. I'm all right. Talk about that for a second, Mike, how we've got to listen. You and I talked about this yesterday. and hear the word and then deep dive into the word. What do you mean by plenty? Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
got a lot. What do you mean by a lot? Well, I'm taken care of. What do you mean by taken care of? We fall, my wife can always get remarried. What do you, how does, why do you, what do you value in that? Why is that important to you that she can get remarried versus, she's got rich parents. They'll take care of her and the kids. Talk about this, Mike. We take these excuses and we don't deep dive into that word. I'm a fanatic on it.
Yeah, that's
Mike,
right. What got me is considering that another man would take care of my kids. You know what? I don't want to leave too much for Sancho. I don't want to leave too much for Jody. Well, guess what? Jody's going to be a bigger need if there's no life insurance in place. You know, I had a friend of mine, she had a significant amount of life insurance when her husband passed away. Guess who wasn't looking for no man to take care of her kids? And I imagine those kids grew up knowing that their father took care of them. How do I know that they did? Because I didn't know the kids, but I knew from my friend that her husband had taken care of her and her family because she told everybody. No, my husband took care of this. I don't need anybody else. I don't really need this job, she would say. If they make me mad, I'm walking out tomorrow.
like my sister, she's in physical therapy now in a facility to get her body back into shape after some illness. And everybody walks in. She said, "This is my brother for $25 a month. He changed my life." And everybody, so understand one day what you do in private will be recognized in public one day. And
Mhm.
that's what you're talking about, Mike, when you got that call for that death claim and had to drive 4 hours, but you also had to sit down with me, had to get licensed, had to go to training, had to pass a test, blah, 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 had to drive 4 hours just to help a family that might or might not do business with you and probably weren't really excited about having you come by like you were not excited about having me come by.
That's
And that
right.
I get that. And look at that. We've got to see the end result when they don't. All right, Mike, excellent, excellent job. Now we got Dan Gunis, always an adventure with Dan. And Dan's going to be talking about words that we talk about in investments that we take for granted everyone understands. Like, what's the Dow? Dow's up, Dow's down. What is the Dow? What is a dividend, Dan?
Well, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Great to I haven't seen you since last year. Oh my gosh. I've been wearing the heck out of that little phrase all week. It's been so much fun. I'm getting on people's nerves in my family. But anyways, good morning. Good to see you. It's always a privilege and an honor to talk to you. I appreciate it. Something that just popped up just in my and Michael, you always do a great job. I got to follow you, doggone it. But just as knowledgeable as Michael was, just a quick point here in understanding. I mean, he knew something was out there, got the books. It still took Bill Orender, a Primerica rep, to sit with them and make it happen. So I guess the point that really hit me again there is people have to be approached. This doesn't happen automatically. People have to be contacted. So and I'm so glad that a buddy of mine contacted me forever ago now. I was flying airplanes for a living, and I was a co-pilot, and my whole world was aviation, be able to get a plane up and down safely, and the weather and all. And he shows me this business, and man, I just for 2 weeks I was beside myself. And when I went on into it, and you look back now, when I mean, I'm going to explain what the Dow Jones Industrial Average is here in a second. I mean, I knew of that. I heard about it. I heard about the market. I had a whole life policy. That goes to show you how smart I was about money. And when I found out how bad the insurance company was getting me, Um, how do I say this without getting I just got torqued off. I got mad as a flipping hornet. I couldn't believe it. And I guess that was kind of like, it's in a lot that's it's in all of us that are on this call. They're just we don't like hypocrisy. We don't like to see the somebody punch down. We don't like to see somebody big nailing somebody. And man, it made me mad as a hornet. So I jumped in this business. And let me just say this real quick, because a lot of you may be in the process of getting a securities license or have it already, or just brand on board. Don't worry about knowing everything about everything about everything about everything. But Art Williams says you learn by doing. The old saying that appealed to me a little bit was cross that bridge when you get to it. I don't know all this. Don't worry about it. You're gonna get it figured out by the time you get there. And if you get there and you still don't know it, you're gonna learn it real quick. All right. Like variable annuities. I don't know a damn thing about them until I had somebody that needed one. I went, well, let me jump into this thing real quick. And the resources with the company. The investment world, it's not, please. It's I like in if anybody's familiar with the movie Wizard of Oz. Remember the point when the Tin Man and the lion and the Scarecrow and Dorothy and Toto, they finally got to the big Oz, a big head blowing the smoke. Remember that part? And that stupid little dog Toto went. Remember the nice shiny floor went. Pulled open the screen and there was that old frumpy guy pushing the levers and punching the buttons. And as soon as he froze, that big old facade of the Oz head collapsed. That's the financial industry. Okay. We're Toto. We pulled the curtain back and said, this is it. And it's that dumb, stupid, simple. So just to hit this real quick, and John or Daryl, and by the way, Daryl, I don't know if you're running the board or John, you are. Thanks for, I think I got my two co-host things going here. Where would I go here? I got to make
You
this.
should be good to go.
Okay, I appreciate it because I always lean on, okay, I got like 8 things open, so I'm going to go to this first one. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All it is, it's 30 companies. Where's the thing you do? All right. It's an index. It's a survey of 30 prominent companies. They took the top companies in 30 different industries and they see how well they're doing day by day, week by week, month by month. All right. And they started this back in 1896, so it's rather old. Here's the current companies. They're not all the same. I mean, at one time there was a company on here called Citigroup. They're not on there anymore, if anybody's heard of them. But you heard of American Express, you heard of Amazon, Apple, Boeing, Caterpillar, Chevron Oil. You can see all the different industry leaders. Home Depot's been on this since right there, 1999. Some companies just got on recently, like Honeywell got in 2020. So what it is, it's basically a survey. It's all it is of the top 30 companies in their industry, just to get a feel for what's going on, the revenue, their expenses, their profits, how well they're doing, their hiring, to get be able to measure the pulse of the economy out there. I mean, it's kind of important. There's also, you heard of the S&P 500. That stands for the Standard and Poor. That's a company that watches and analyzes 500 companies. And to be honest with you, that is, in fact, the better index, the better survey that I'd like to refer to as, just for some people, to look at to see how the economy is going, because that's 500 companies across the American economy. So you get to see how well they're doing. The S&P, they're both at highs right now. Out of the 500, you may have heard of, and I'm getting in the weeds a little bit, the Magnificent Seven. That's 7 companies that are in the tech area, big on the AI right now, that have really fueled the S&P growth over the last couple of years. So that's all that is. And the mutual funds that we invest in are the money we put it into the fund, they invest the money into those companies if they're an equity fund. I mean, if they're a bonds or a money market, it's not in the S&P 500 or the Dow. So that's what that is. Bill asked me to explain what a dividend is. And let me tell you what doesn't pay dividends. Like Michael talked about, cash value life insurance. That's a hokey hoax bunch of talk about fake crap. That's fake. They went on out and made people think that they were getting shares of the company profits. Heck, no, not at all. A dividend, a life insurance policy is nothing more than returned premium dollar. They overcharged the right up front, and they give you a couple bucks back, and they call it a dividend. All right. There's no federal regulation on those jokers. So, what a dividend really is in real life, it's a share, it's excess cash. And if you got a company and they make this much money, and after they pay their all their expenses and and everything off, the excess cash gets sent out to the shareholders. That's called a dividend. It's extra money that they don't need now, and that goes on out to us. So that's what a dividend is. That's all that is you're getting money paid to you after the profits, after the revenue brought on in and they did their expenses. A capital gain. What's a capital gain? Real simple. The mutual, when a company, a mutual fund buys a company, or you buy a company stock at $10, it appreciates to $20 and you sell it. That's a $10 capital gain. That's all that is. So in a mutual fund, they buy these stocks of these companies. If one appreciates and they sell it, they pass it on to us as a capital gain. A neat thing about mutual funds, and most of the time, is that if it's a short-term gain, which means they made it and sold it inside a year, you get taxed 37% on it. On a long-term gain, the taxes are 0 to 20%. So generally, you want to get a long-term capital gain. Like I said, get in the weeds there a little bit. That's all that is. Okay. IRAs, Roths, and all that. Let me go to screen share and let's see if I can do this now. Go to another window for y'all. Where did I do that thing you do? Oh, my presentation. That's where it was at. Why isn't it not popping up? Excuse me. Hang on, gang. I got this. I thought I got it loaded up. I know it's in here somewhere. Google. Oh man, I bleeped out of the dumb thing. Oh, poo poo caca pee pee. All right. Oh, shoot, this was good too. I got too many things opened up here. Basically, I'm going to ramble here for a second as I'm trying to get back to my. I must have X'd out of that dumb thing. Why would I do that? Because I don't know what I'm doing here on the computer. Well, a Roth IRAs here. Let me just say it this way. In fact, guys and gals, this is why I have John have my, just in case I need to go to my screen thingy dooey here, my whiteboard. So when push comes to shove here, Dan can at least maybe draw a little bit. I don't know if there's a white screen. Come on up there, John.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me do it this way. If you're going to save money, let's be positive here. When you save money, you don't want to pay taxes on the growth if you don't have to. And the government came out years ago to try to incentivize people to put money away, to get them some kind of tax break. Okay, is it writing? Can you see it all there?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, John. So you don't want to pay taxes on the growth all the time. So what happens is they came out with this little thing called the IRA, and all that stands for is individual retirement account, which means the money that goes into that account, you pay no taxes on it as it grows. So remember, I said if you get a dividend paid, let's say you got 100 shares and you get a dollar a share dividend, you got $100. You got to pay taxes. IRS is going to get their money. All right. I mean, and that's all part of the deal. All right. So if it's inside the IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on that $100 right then. You only have to pay tax on the money when it comes out later on, okay? And you don't take, if your money turns into $1 million, you don't, when you retire or you need the money, you don't take $1 million out because you're going to get hit on the tax and all that. What you're going to do is you're going to take out what you need incrementally and just pay taxes on a smaller amount. You find, you with me? The IRA also is the money you put in, you can deduct the contribution. So if you put in what you're allowed $7,000 under the age of 50, you can reduce you make 37, $57,000 this year. You only have to pay taxes on 50,000. That 7 grand is taxed. You don't have to pay taxes on it. but you pay taxes on it coming on out. Some people said, well, listen, what if, and there was a senator by the name of, I forget his first name now, but his last name was Roth. It's not like they invented the name, let's call it Roth. But this guy said, let's have an IRA where you put the money into it. When it comes out later on, it's tax free. You do not have to pay taxes on the money when it comes out, which is better because now if you get the $1 million, it grows to $1 million, you can really take the $1 million out and not pay tax on a darn thing. All right. The little difference is you cannot deduct the contribution. It's after taxes. So you make your money at work, you bring the paycheck home, and then you put it on in. You pay taxes. So it's after tax money. There's a 10% pre penalty on both IRAs if you have to pull the money out before you're 59 and a half years old. Okay, even on a Roth. So that's what that is for. And our mutual funds, any investment that's out there, let's see if I can get out of here now. There we go. All investments are the only savings account that is not qualified to be an IRA, or Roth, or traditional is a cash value life insurance policy. Thank God for that. The government had a little bit of gumption because they're horrible. Like I said, I'm going to save the some other things. There's other tax programs that you can put money in for saving for kids, for money for kids. But by the way, your employer, if you have an employer, you have a 401k. If you work for a private company, a 403b. If you work for a municipality, you're allowed to take pre-tax money. You gross 30 grand, you put 10 grand in there, you pay taxes on the 20. You can put money away. That's generally with employers. For college money, there's basically four choices now. Well, two for your own money. There's the 529 and UTMA accounts where you're allowed to put money away for kids, and you get a tax advantage on either one. I don't want to get it. I can get into the weeds on them, but they both got a little different nuance, but they're great. I got plenty of clients. We got close to $190 million under management now, and I got a bunch of folks. Yeah, yeah. Every week I got clients call me on out. Their kids turn 18, or sometimes they don't even know about it, and they call it 25. And we have to flip the money, the minor account into an individual account. But anyways, tax advantages of those things. There is now just recently the Trump account, the government account, I call it in some respects, because the government's going to give us money, give your kids money if they were born January 1st of last year up until December 31st of 2028. And this is now getting unfolded. We can't open them up for people at the moment. The money's not even coming yet. But when you file your income taxes, I did get a little handle on this. It's IRS form 4547 that you've got to let the IRS know that you want to get that money. If your child was just born last year or hasn't been born yet, if you plan on having kids, it's a good time to do it. And the government will send $1,000, and the only accounts that they'll put the money into is not a whole life policy or a bank account. It's got to be an investment, mutual funds, an indexed account or a mutual fund. So guess who's right in there? And I haven't seen yet where our company has adapted our application where it says, type of account, where they've added in there that account yet. I haven't seen it yet. The Dell accounts, and I brought that up and I lost it, but the Dell accounts are for kids that are born before 2025. Michael Dell and his wife have committed to sending $250 out if your child is 10 years old or younger and born before 2025. They're going to send whoever sent that on out there. Way to go, Michael. Okay. They're going to send $250 out to them. Again, that account has to be set on up through us. It's only going to be a mutual fund. They are not going to add that to the $1,000. Okay, this is just strictly people that have children that were born before 2025. So that's what that is. And by the way, those are both great prospecting tools just to get conversations going, folks, because people don't really know about it. Heck, we're just getting I don't know about y'all. You're probably all experts now. I'm just getting my hands around that one right now, how that all works. Somebody asked me a question quite a while ago. Is the stock market a gamble? I guess you could say that, but it's a real good gamble. I mean, it's a gamble to get in the car and drive to the store, isn't it? I mean, everything's got a risk factor to it, for crying out loud. But the thing about somebody said, well, I could go to the casino. Well, come on. You're going to lose going to the casino. Don't give me none of that, you know. You're going to lose buying a stupid. You're not going to lose your buck when you buy a lottery ticket. I mean, the odds are, right? Proven history shows in the stock market, if you're smart and you're in it for the long term and you're not looking to make $1 million in 2 days, it ain't a gamble. It's smart strategy. You with me? See, a mutual fund, you got professionals that take other people's monies and they invest it out in the market. They diversify it. They spread it on out and they put it in different companies. And I think I still got my screen share here, John. Am I good? Okay, let me go. No, hang on, poo poo. Okay, screen share. There we go. And here it is. Here it is. So here is a page of one of our mutual funds, and I'm not going to mention the name. There it is. Because then I have to provide prospectuses. And how come? Where did it go here? All right, you see my cursor? Okay,
Yes,
on the
yes.
left-hand side here, on the left-hand side here, you can see the different industries that this fund is in. So this is for educational and training purposes only. This is not an inducement to buy our mutual fund, but you're dumb if you don't. Basic materials, 6.5%. Consumer cyclotors, that's stuff that we buy every day. Toothpaste and such. Financial services company, you can see 14% there. They got a little bit in real estate companies. So you see the different industries. So there's healthcare's got almost 12%. Okay, so there's different industries that it's in. Okay, so I got to do this real quick. I got to stop it. So it's in multiple industries. It's not all in one industry like the oil industry or the financial industry, because all industries, there's a chance that one industry doesn't do well next year or this year, all right, where the other ones will come on up and the ones that didn't do good last year come on up this year, all right? So they spread it on out and then they're in multiple companies inside the industry. And let me find that. Oh, poo poo. Okay, I don't know what's going on here with this. I've used that word poo poo a few times. That's only because I don't want to see. Oh, shoot.
While you're looking for that, Dan, let me make a comment. My experience is if a person keeps their money in a mutual fund for at least 7 years and they take it out, they're not gonna lose. It's every 7 years there's been an increase in the history. Second thing is when you're buying, you go gambling, it's an odd thing. Here you're buying it, you're a stockholder in 150 different companies, let's say McDonald's. For you to lose money, every McDonald's had to be burned to the ground at the same time, and then you can sell the land. General Motors, every one of their plants, all their equipment, at least you can sell the land. Microsoft, I mean, I heard where like 60% of all the operating systems in the world use Microsoft.
So to that point, Bill, here it is. Here's the list of the companies that this mutual fund is, and Bill is exactly spot on. How many have ever heard of Microsoft? Well, 4.2% of the portfolios in Microsoft, not 100, not 50. Exxon Oil's got 3.75. Nestle, anybody eat chocolate? I ate a little chocolate this morning. Every time you have a Nestle chocolate bar, thank you. You help my portfolio. All right. Anybody ever heard of Texas Instruments? Some of you down there in Texas, right? JP Morgan Chase. You see the different companies, and there's about 85 of them. T-Mobile, Comcast. So you see all the companies. So to Bill's point, for you to lose money in a mutual fund, every one of those companies at the same second would have to go belly up bankrupt. All right, for you to lose your money. Now that ain't good. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible. Anything's impossible. But the odds are just like, forget about it. All right.
If they go bankrupt, at least they can sell off their assets.
Well, go back to 2008 when General Motors and Ford Motor, or not Ford Motor Company, they were the smart one. GM and Chrysler went bankrupt. The market didn't even, I mean, those companies went bankrupt. The market didn't even blink, which is kind of depressing to us in Detroit. Like nobody noticed. So the value will fluctuate, though. You could put money on in, and we could this year see a market drop 20%. It ain't going to 0% because every company would have to go bankrupt, right? So if it does drop 20%, so what? People are still buying toothpaste and, all right. So you get the point there. Can Primerica go bankrupt? Somebody asked this question. I said, well, no, but they could, I mean, anything, right? It could happen. It don't matter. Your money's not in Primerica unless you own our stock. Your money in mutual funds got nothing to do with the company. Those are two distinct indemnities, or however the word is. All right, it's in the mutual funds. The mutual fund gave us a broker fee, a commission to sell that to get you in it. That's all that on is. Primerica. Let me tell you something about Primerica. Besides the stocks kicking butt, we're a smart company. The money that we have investing, these guys and gals that are on our board of directors and such, man, they are conservative. Not conservative where they're putting a jar in under the sheets. They're not going on out there and buying derivatives and credit default swaps and all that gumbo. I'm so proud of this company, and it's a defensive stock. It ain't gonna go to $1 million tomorrow, but this son of a gun just keeps on trucking. So not an inducement or to get you to buy. Can you lose money in a mutual fund? I already answered that. Can an insurance company go broke? You betcha. Have they in the past? You betcha. But insurance companies, by the regulators, have to have a surplus reserve. So they have enough money put aside to take care of any liabilities that's not touched by. So if the company does, there was one over here, Alexander Hamilton, here in Michigan, and Bill, you remember Bob, that's where Bob Stafford came from. They're out of business, but they got bought up. Another insurance company bought their block of business, so the insurance policies are taken care of. So, Bill, I think I covered it all.
Thank you, Dan. That was marvelous. Let me tell you, you mentioned the word defensive stock. A defensive stock means these mutual fund companies invest in stocks that historically never go down. If it's a depression, if it's a recession, and there's two things that never go down. Three defensive stock. Number one, pharmaceuticals. People have to have their medications. Number two, food. So Del Monte and all these go to Walmart or any grocery store, right? And what shocked you, Dan, is the number one defensive stock that never goes down. Cosmetics. Men are gonna have their eyeshadow. Men are gonna have their cream for their faces, right? And their lipstick, right? It never goes down. Amazing. All right, Dan, that was fantastic. Now we got Rod Logan. Rod, are you with us? Talk about a special crusader. Rod Logan? Is he on there, John?
Yeah, I'm making him co-host right now. Rod, you should be able to unmute now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes,
Rod,
yes.
you're going to be talking about this elusive thing called field training. What is field
Yes.
training? You got to be field training. What's field training? What constitutes field training? And John Rogers, you're next, and then we have Nick after that.
All right. Well, good morning, teammates. Thanks so much, Mike and Dan. You guys really do a great job in really explaining the key components to one of the two critical services that we provide to rescue families, which is insurance. Mike, I think that was just amazing how you talked about, the corporate or the job insurance or work insurance and why that's so unstable and so unreliable. And Dan, of course, kind of taking us under the hood and showing us how our money grows. And I think these concepts are amazing. And I'm just so thankful to be part of a company that really makes a difference in a significant way in the lives of so many people that we touch. Now, my role as Coach asked me to talk about is field training, right? And so for those people who are new to the company, all of this information can be so intimidating. And, because we're dealing with really, really critical aspects of a person's financial life. And we know that if the money is not right in the household, then the household is not right. And so when, I think the best thing I think one of the great things about this company is I'm like there's a lot of good things, but one of the best things I like is that we really take time to field train people on our system because field training, and again, I don't want this to come across so deep that it becomes overwhelming and intimidating, but at the same time, I don't want it to present it where you can kind of take a nonchalant approach because field training is important because, when someone invites you over to their home, basically they're saying, you know what? I don't know enough information, and I am counting on you to come and deliver information to me and my family that can help move us forward. Well, that's a huge responsibility and it's a huge trust that they're placing on you. And so we understand that. And so therefore we field train our new people to help them become equipped so that when they arrive at the kitchen table or the Zoom, they're able to deliver in a meaningful way. And so I'm going to talk about some of like some of the components of field training. And so let me go to my screen here. Let's see if I can share this. All right, let me go to share. Hold on. We're going to do this here. We're going to share. All right, here we go. All right, can you see that on your screen?
Yes.
See if I can. Okay, so field training again. This is a way for you, particularly new people, to really launch their business, right? And it also for the field trainers, it gives us an opportunity to model how we go about doing what we're doing. Now, again, this system here has been time tested. It's been proven, it's been vetted. And so this system works. And so for a new person, you really have to submit to field training because you coming into this industry or coming into this business, no matter what your background may have been, whether you worked in the financial service industry or whether you was a plumber, we have a unique proven system that can really help you deliver for families and build your business. All right. And we have the receipts. All right. You're looking at one right now, Bill Orender. All right. So this system works. All right. And so now, so basically what I'm going to talk about is, we're going to talk about field training. We're going to discuss what is it. We also going to talk about why is it necessary for you to be field trained? Because some people come in and say, okay, well, I got my license. I already know what to do. I used to sell insurance with XYZ company, or I worked with, like another investment company. So I already know what I know. But I'm going to discuss to you why is it necessary, and then I'm going to talk about what you will learn in the field training process because that's important. All right, and then the last thing we want to talk about what your role is in the field training process. So here we go. All right, so what is it? Basically, field training is simply the process in which you learn how we rescue families. All right. You're going to learn how we set the appointments. You're going to learn how we, uh, you know, start the appointment, the different mannerisms and how we do things, whether it's at the kitchen table or via Zoom. All right. These are very critical components or aspects of field training, right? Or delivering to families. Like you're going to learn, how we present the information. You're going to learn how we answer client concerns. You're gonna learn how how we get clients from saying, yeah, that sounds good, to taking action and actually implementing the programs that's going to help impact their lives financially. Like you're going to learn about how we get referrals. You're going to learn about how we go about getting people involved in our crusade and getting them involved and encouraging them to say, hey, you know what, you can do this business, and not only can you help other families, but you can have a significant impact in your family's life. So you're going to learn the verbiage, you're going to learn the mannerisms, you're going to learn all those things, right? And so that's important because now again, we've been doing this for years and we have a system. And so this is something that you need to learn our way because our way works. All right. Now, so now why is that necessary? Well, the reason why field training is necessary is, again, so you can learn it. All right. Now, again, no matter what your background is, you need to learn our system. It's like, if I went to go play for, like if one quarterback is traded from one team to the next team, that quarterback that's joining the new team has to learn their system. All right. So they can run their plays. Okay, same thing with us. You have to learn our system so you can deliver for for families who have entrusted you to bring them information that's going to help them. Okay. And that's something that's so important. So again, we do all of this for you. All right. When you become a trainee, basically you have a professional person that's training you. So in essence, we are working for you. You're not working for us. We're working for you. We're teaching you a system that can go out and change lives, that will allow you to build a business that can deliver financial freedom, not only for other people, but for your family as well. All right. So now so these are some of the things that you will learn. Okay. One, you're going to learn our concept, the buy term and investor difference. Mike talked about the term insurance. Dan talked about, the investment component, right? You want to learn not only, the buy term and investor difference concept, but you're going to learn how to deliver it. All right. And get people moving forward with it so they can take advantage of it. All right. That's the rescuing process. It's great to know, okay, term insurance is good. It's great to know investing your money in mutual funds is good. But how do you get a family to move forward with the concepts that you know about, that you know is going to benefit them? That's what you're going to learn in field training, because we're going to model that for you. We're going to show you how that's done. The second thing you're going to learn the DIME method, right? Which means debt, income. Well, actually, DIME is an acronym, which means debt, income, mortgage, and education. Basically, that's a way. Now, I know we talk about the first pillar, that everybody need an extra $100,000 in life insurance, right? But you're going to have, at some point in time, you're going to come across a family who's going to need more than $100,000, and they have the resources to buy more than $100,000 insurance. And so you have to be able to determine how much coverage that they're going to need. So you're going to learn verbiage like, well, Mr. and Mrs. Client, do you want to fully protect your family or partially protect your family if something happens, prematurely? And if they say, I want to fully protect my family, we're going to say, okay, well, great. We have a quick exercise that we need to do to determine how much it's going to take to fully protect your family. Well, that's the DIME method. All right. We ask them about their debt. We want to ask them how much income do they need to replace, and for how long. We're going to talk to them about mortgages. Do you want to pay off your mortgage? And E represents education. And listen, if something happens to you prematurely, do you want to make sure that your children's education program is funded? All right. So those are the things that you're going to learn. You're going to learn, more importantly, how to deliver it. You're going to learn about mutual funds once you get, or even before you get licensed. You're going to learn the power of mutual funds, in which we can show families how to impregnate their money so it can go out and have little babies and continue to grow. All right. And that's a very important concept, because the savings, the investment portion, again, as we talk about, there's two great risks. There's the risk of dying too soon, and there's a risk of living too long. Well, life insurance takes care of the risk of you dying too soon, but mutual funds and investments takes care of the risk if God blesses you with longevity. And so we handle both of those great concepts. But more importantly, how do you deliver it to the point where family says, yes, I'm ready to move forward? Okay. And then you're going to have referrals. All right. Referrals is basically, that's one of the lifelines to your business, because we don't cold call. We don't recommend that. That's never a good way to do, particularly this business. So referrals is a way of getting, is getting additional names of people that you can go and talk to in the warm market. All right. So you're going to find out, how we go about getting referrals, the questions that we ask, the challenges that we overcome when people are reluctant to give us referrals. These are some of the things that you're going to learn. Your field trainer is going to show you how to do. Again, critical components to help you go out and deliver, not only for these clients, but also to help you build your business. And then you're also going to learn about recruiting. All right. Recruiting is simply getting somebody involved in this business so that they can make some additional money, or if they want to, do a career change, whatever their desires are. Recruiting is that process, that technique of getting them to say, yeah, you know what, I'm interested in that, to, you know what, let's go ahead and move forward with that. All right. Now there's some verbiage that you'll pick up on. There's some language. There's some there's some styling. All of that stuff will come and as a result, or while you're getting field trained. So this is why you can't overlook this process. You can't you can't go about it nonchalantly. Because when you field train, I always recommend, whenever you field train, and you want to field train, number one, so you can learn it, but more importantly, you want to field train with the intention that you're going to teach it to someone else. Because when I was a school teacher, right? When I was a teacher, right, and I had to learn a particular topic, when I was reading new material for the first time with the intention of being able to have to explain it to somebody else, well, that intensified my focus. That intensified my focus. I said, I really got to know this inside and out because I'm going to teach this to someone else. And I need to make sure that I'm thorough enough with the material and comfortable enough with the material that I can answer their questions. All right. That's the same approach I recommend that you take with field training. Not just field training, just go through the motions, but you want to field train with the intention of, I want to learn this not so I can be proficient. That's important because you got to deliver for families, but I want to learn it so that I can teach it to somebody else so they can become proficient as well. And that's how you begin to grow your business. That's how your business begin to expand because the more proficient people are on your team, the more families that can be rescued, the more families that can be served, and as a result, the more money you can make in this business. All right, so now your job basically is to cheerlead the system. All right. Basically, you just sit on the sidelines and you just shake your head and say, yes, that's right. Or if you're on a Zoom call, you have to be interested. You have to, be in close. You have to be involved in the presentation. Not that you have to say anything. The only thing you need to say is that, that's great. Isn't that good information? Yes. Cheerlead the system. That's your role is to cheerlead the system and allow your field trainer to do the work. They don't necessarily need your input initially. Other than the introduction, say, hey, listen, you know what? This is John. John is my field trainer, or John is my business partner, or John is my manager, and he's going to walk you through some of the things that we do to help families. And you just be quiet and let John do the work because John is the expert. John has thousands of hours of training. So he's able and he's prepared, to really deliver for that family. And basically your job is to sit there. Of course, now I don't recommend that you have pom-poms, on a Zoom call. All right. But you want to cheerlead, you want to be engaged, you want to be involved, you want to look interested, and you want to be shaking your head, and like, wow, and taking notes and appearing, and being interested. And again, with the whole approach that, or the whole approach that you want to be able to learn this and teach it to someone else so that they can be proficient as well. And then finally, then you have to participate. You have to contribute to the system by setting at least 5 to 10 appointments, not just setting the 5 to 10 appointments, but going on 5 and 10 appointments, because we know every appointment that we set may not necessarily stick. All right. That's another thing that you have to learn. All right. But you want to participate in at least 5 to 10 appointments so you can get a feel for what we do. All right. And then after you get a feel for what we do, then you can start developing your Primerica voice. All right. Then you can start internalizing it. Now, again, it's going to be a little difficult when you first start. You're going to stumble. It's going to feel awkward because it's something new. But that's just the process of progress. Anything that you do starting off new, it's going to feel a little awkward. I know when I first started dating my wife, I was like, man, take her to the movie. Should I hold her hand? Should I not hold her hand? Should I put my arm around her? She may think I'm too aggressive, but if I don't put my arm around her, then she may think I'm kind of weak and soft. So it felt a little awkward. I wasn't sure what to do, but now we got 2 grandkids. So we figured that thing out. You know what I mean? So we figured that thing out. So again, that's just the natural process. So don't be intimidated by the awkwardness. Embrace it, knowing that you're on the right track. Because on the other side of awkwardness is mastery. That's the only way you get to mastery is when you have to feel awkward. So when you experience that feeling, don't look down upon it. Embrace it. Say, okay, you know what? Hey, I'm on track. I feel a little awkward. Then, I know that I'm moving in the right direction. So I just encourage you to really take advantage of the field training, the field trainers that we have set here, like your manager, your field trainer, your upline. They have spent hours mastering this, and we still learn it. I mean, we still show up on Saturdays because we still trying to sharpen our irons, all right? Because no one, I mean, there's always room for growth, and that's our approach. And so when you are assigned to a field trainer, you have a field trainer, again, take advantage of it. Let that field trainer go to work for you to teach you this business so you can grow your business. That's all I got, Coach.
All right, Rod, thank you very much. Can you see me? I've been fooling around.
I can't see you, but let's see. Hold on.
Well, I'm on. I don't know how to change it. I feel like Dan doing this. I don't know a thing that's going on, but I screwed it up. But anyway, I can see myself on there.
We can see you.
Anyway, Rod, talk about this for a second and how the best student-teacher ratio is one-on-one. It's like your child has trouble in class, so you put them with a tutor so they get one-on-one training. That's what we do, one-on-one training. Talk about that for a second and how that it doesn't happen anyplace else in training in education.
You're right, Coach. I think that's the best because now you have that individual attention, and you as the trainee can ask questions that will help unstick you, or if that's the word, unstick, like in a particular area. If it's something that you don't understand, if there was something that was said that was kind of confusing, you can get clarity immediately, and it's customized to you to help you move forward. So that one-on-one training is just valuable. And like you said, Coach, I think we're probably the only company in the industry, that does this. Other companies, they put you in the big room, they have a trainer come in and say, this is how you do this. But there's very little one-on-one training. You have to figure it out yourself. And most of those guys don't really make it. After about a year or two, it's like, forget it. I can't do it. And so with, the benefit is that you get personalized attention. I mean, that is so rare with somebody who's going to teach you how to build this business. I mean, that is just, Art figured it out. He figured it out. And we have and see, here's the thing, Coach, we have the receipts to prove it, that it works. I mean, you can just go ahead.
Five field training appointments are equal to at least 25 hours of classroom. If you were to say, well, I'm not going to go out in the field until I come to all these classes, you can't do that, right? I mean, it holds you back, Rod.
Right, that's right. I mean, that's like, like that's saying, you know what, I'm not going to jump in the water. I'm trying to learn how to swim. So I'm going to watch about, I'll go to a swimming class, or I'll watch some YouTube video on how to swim, the different techniques. And I'm going to make sure that I watch at least 10 to 15 videos before I jump in the water. It's not going to work. I mean, like, you're going to learn. I mean, like, the best way to learn, like you said, is to really, jump in it and kind of, be in a situation where the rubber meets the road. The best training. Now, this training that we have, Coach, like you said, is probably one of the best in the country, if not the best. But the real training, where it really begins to sink in is when you actually in front of a client and when you actually helping the family. That's when it becomes real. Because this theory sounds nice, it sounds good, but when you see it actually works, oh my goodness, then that's, that when it becomes real for you and you start developing what I call your Primerica voice. And now you develop the conviction where you can now feel more comfortable and more resolved to share it with someone else.
Well, thank you very much, Rod. That was excellent. Our training is not maybe the best. It is the best. We've got the best trainers. We've got the best heart. And all Primerica, we were voted #1 training on Saturday in all Primerica 3 years running. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. Anyway, I took a poll, and there was a huge poll of who's the best, and we came up #1. Then we got John Rogers. John, we every Tuesday night we have something called an opportunity meeting. But what are the elements of a good opportunity meeting? When you do one-on-one opportunity, when you go in the field, that's an opportunity meeting. On Tuesday night's an opportunity meeting. You can do opportunity meetings on Zoom. Talk about that. What is an opportunity meeting, and what are the elements, John, of a great opportunity meeting?
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Thank you for asking me to speak on this. And what I want to do is kind of go through a few. Where did y'all go? Here y'all are. All right, perfect. Kind of go through a few different aspects of it. And first of all, there's a plethora of different people on here. So some of y'all are like, I don't even know what an opportunity meeting is. And Coach just kind of went through the surface level of it. So yes, an opportunity is exactly what the opportunity meeting is exactly what it sounds like. It's an opportunity for a person to find out what we do, what you do, and then also for you to find out about who they are and what they're looking for. Okay. That can be in a one-on-one, that can be in a group setting like Tuesday, that can be Saturday morning training, that can be get big or go home. Okay. Now the next layer of people is, why do I need to know this? And at a certain point, y'all have heard people talk about this, you got to transition from, okay, I'm a rep, I'm a district, I'm a division, maybe even some of y'all that haven't really figured out how to be a regional, but you are regional. I'm a regional. And at some point, I'm probably going to be running my own group opportunity meetings, possibly, okay? Depending on how your hierarchy is shaped. So for y'all that are in that spot, I would be thinking of that. I remember as a district Jim Genta's base shop, me and Bert were running our own trainings and our own ops at a certain point as districts. And that was an ownership thing. So some of y'all that aren't trying to figure out, okay, why do I need to know this? You should start thinking of yourself in an ownership position, owning your own business. So I'm gonna go through a few tangible and intangible things that I think is important. One is professionalism. Okay. So Zoom is a different era, but back back in the day before Zoom was a thing, right? I remember showing up to my first op. There was a group opportunity meeting. And y'all have to be aware of this. People are going to judge whether you like it or not. People are going to judge whether you like it or not. So there has to be some level of professionalism. What do I mean by that? Well, when I first went to my first ops, I was looking around. I'll be honest with y'all, Rod. Like I was looking, I saw people in flip flops and shorts and tank tops, and I'm like, wait, this is supposed to be financial services, Daryl Compton, and I'm a little confused because I had a picture of what I expected it to look like. So you would be a fool to think even on Zoom, we don't, unfortunately, I tell my team this, we don't get the luxury of being able to do the meeting in our bed. That person can be in their bed, but we don't get the luxury of talking about, hey, I'm going to take you to financial freedom, sitting on the toilet, doing our meeting. You know, I'm speaking to some of y'all, right? So you want to find some level of professionalism. I always tell people on Zoom, you can find a spot or a corner in your house and make it look really nice, right? Make it look like an office, make it look like at least there's some type of structure behind you. Energy. Imagine if we got up this Saturday morning and like it was really just kind of like Elizabeth, you know, hey, you know, Art Williams changed my life. And you know, he just spoke with so much passion and just so much. Yeah, y'all probably feeling it right now. The everything just kind of drops, right?
Right.
So there has to be some level of energy, and you should have it when you start to realize what this businesses are going to produce for you and your family, right? We're rereading the book, Coach Hill, like this. Success is not an accident, and it was in there. There's a part where he's talking about Tommy Newberry is talking about people were asking me how come I can stay up so late and wake up so early, and it's like because I got goals. And I remember someone asking me that not too long ago, and I really didn't have the answer until I read that. I was like, that's exactly it. Because I know where I'm going. I'm going somewhere, and it's almost like that childlike feeling again of, oh, cartoon's gonna be on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. I'm getting up, right? Ready to move. So bring energy into your opportunity meeting, whether it be at Zoom or in person, whether it's group one-on-one. I think you need an extra ounce or maybe even a pound of energy when it comes to Zoom. Why? Because it's a computer. We don't get to hear the clapping. We don't get the high five. You know, they don't get to feel your presence as if they would if you were in person. Variety of speakers. This is talking about a group. Okay. Josh Huffman used to always talk about we want a variety, and I used to wonder. I was like, well, how come we had a he would speak, which Josh was an older Caucasian male, right? I would speak, and then we also had an Asian guy that would speak, and then sometimes just another younger Caucasian. And he would do that on purpose because he wanted a mixture. He wanted a variety. Why? Because there's different people in the room and different speakers touch the hearts of those people that are listening. Someone may really love what I say and not like what Rod said in his delivery, but then you flip that, someone at that same meeting it's like, man, Rod Logan, Dan Goonish, the guy that was almost cussing, man, that's my jam. And so you want that variety of speakers in a group op because you don't know what delivery is going to land with that particular person. Okay. Where am I on time? Stories. All right, good. This is important. People need to know what your story is. And sometimes, Coach, I think people are like, even on one-on-ones, well, I don't have that story where like, I was homeless and I overcame all the adversity in the world and my whole family turned their back on me. And my story is it just came in here and worked. Jimmy Meyer, if some of y'all know him, he's one of my favorite speakers, if not, one of my top three. I love hearing Jimmy Meyer talk. Like his energy is amazing. But he has a story that is, he would call luck. I know at MIT, that's what he talked about. He was like, my first three people that I invited to an opportunity meeting became RVP. And that ain't gonna happen, but that's his story. Where did you come from? You tell your story because it allows a person to say, okay, well, if you did it or you're doing it and you have a similar situation to me, then now that gives me the opportunity, or that gives me at least the confidence that maybe this can happen to me too. Okay. Your stories are important. Your stories lead to disturbing. This is going to be a nugget for a lot of y'all. Sometimes we can get so mundane. I don't know if that's the right word. We get so in the repetition of doing the presentation that I don't ask Mary Watkins questions that if I never talk to her again, she was disturbed in a good way or a bad way, but she's thinking about that conversation that we had. Hey, Mary, is something that you're doing right now for work or income, is that going to get you to where you want to be going? Matter of fact, where do you want to go? Have you thought about that at, whatever that person's age is? We're talking to someone, Daryl, that's 35, 40 years old. Have you hit your goals? Are you going for something? What disturbs that person? Hey, do you have kids? Yes, I have kids. Do you tell your kids to never to give up on their goals and dreams, Mr. Hardy? No. I'd never do that. I would never. Okay, cool. So why did you give up on yours? Did you give up on yours? If your kid came to you and said, hey, daddy, did you give up on your goals and dreams and settle? Would you have to say yes? And if you have to say yes, what if your kid later on was like, well, daddy, you gave up on yours, so I'm going to give up on mine. I'm going to settle for this job. Disturb the person. Why? Because they may never get an opportunity again, depending on what their age is. So in an op, in a presentation, when you're talking to somebody, Lord, what's coming up next? It's a million holidays out in St. Patrick, Valentine's Day. You on a date with a new girlfriend or whatever? Disturb her. Ask her some questions, right? Y'all fellas, women like men with goals, right? So you disturb that person so you can get movement from the heart. Okay. Let's wrap up. There's a lot of times three types of people. And if y'all see any typos in my thing, don't let me know about it. I'm an A. So I'm the one that'll go like there's plenty of times we went to get bigger, go home. We're not even sure if we knew where we were staying. So y'all pray for my team. But three types of people. There's basically already recruited. I didn't put that they've done their IBA. You're not in the IBA business. You won't get paid for those. But there's people that haven't done their IBA and they're ready to roll with you. Okay, they're moving. They're in your group opportunity meeting. You have your first timers that we say if you're not right market, you're going to Tuesday night. Period. Point blank. Period. You ain't right market. We're going Tuesday night, Sarah. So those first timers are broke up into two people, I believe. Extra income. Okay. I want to make extra money. I think, my job doesn't pay me enough money. I need some extra on the side. And then there's some people that need a career change. I recruited a guy that's somewhere upper in T-Mobile, and he makes about 200 grand a year. So when we start going through certain things, some of those things won't be enticing to him, like an extra 200, 500 bucks a month. But then you also have the people that are possible clients. So let's land the plane. So when we're talking about the 4 pillars in these ops, these group ops in particular that we're going through, well, you have those people that are going to need $100,000 in life insurance, y'all. Dalton, unfortunately, no matter how good we are, God didn't bring everybody here to work with us. God didn't bring everyone that they put in front of you tied paying to work with you. But there may have been a seed planted, at least by you, that they need at least something. It drives me nuts. People walk out of here with zero. Jesus, get $1 a day. And at least you got 100 grand. Is that enough for most people? Absolutely not. It's better than the GoFundMe. But some of those people that are in that room the only thing they may have heard is when Michael Burnfield was talking about how good our life insurance was, how emergency funds need to be set up and all these things. 300,000 in a Roth IRA. There's people in the op that may have never even heard of that Roth IRA thing. What is a Roth IRA? Who is Roth IRA, right? This information that's given to people happens in your opportunity meetings, whether they are one-on-one or group. So when we're talking about basics, these are 2 basics from a client standpoint. You need 100,000 in case you die tomorrow. And in case you live, you need to be saving outside of your 401k. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. How come? Because nobody ever came and knocked on your door and explained to you, this is how these things work, right? Let's move over to the business side. So we talked about there's 2 people on the, when it comes to the 3 people that are here, you got your people that need extra income and you got the ones that want a possible career change. Well, the extra income was me. Some kind of way, Rod, I was making 70 grand a year salary, just 10, 15, Lord, 20 years. Jesus. Almost 20 years, almost 20 years ago. And I still was broke. Some kind of way, I was still paycheck to paycheck. So an extra $1,000 would have been a long way for me. That was enticing for me. I was small thinking, right? However, some people, like I said, my friend, they need to see the magnitude. They need to hear Bill Orender's life. They need to hear something new that they haven't before that will disturb them. So yeah, you make 200 grand a year, but how many hours do you work? Oh Lord, don't even ask me that question. How much time away from your wife and kids do you have to put into making that 200 grand a year? If you could make the same money and it increased every single year without you applying any more effort, and it gave you freedom, which would be better? Disturbing thoughts. So once you start understanding, ladies and gentlemen, on like when we're doing ops, the basics of it, one, for you to figure out how to do a presentation, there's also something I should have added, right? I learned a lot of presentation looking at ops every Tuesday. I'm gonna give y'all a little nugget here because some of y'all show up every Tuesday and you kind of just check out, right? If you don't know how to do a presentation, you know how to talk about the presentation. The same things are said pretty much every Tuesday. By the way, it's not for you, it's for you to bring somebody to. But learn a presentation through that. Learn how to talk about the business through that repetition. The other way, or the other reason that we just talked about that is, again, y'all that are deciding, okay, I want this to be, I believe God brought this to me so I can change my family's life. Well, start thinking of yourself as what would I be doing with my opportunity meetings? When I start running my own appointments, am I going to apply these things that I'm disturbing somebody and making sure that they may be thinking about this business in 3 different ways, whether it be a client, whether it be coming to work with us, or they know somebody that this would be a good fit for. So Coach, I hope that landed for you as what you wanted. That's what I got, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, John. That was excellent. I love the inspiration, the foundation of it. And by the way, going back to Dan's presentation, the Dell accounts where he's putting in $250 for 25 million children. Think about that for a second. It starts July 4th of 2026. July 4th, you can start enrolling people in those accounts. And then from there, you'll find out, and we'll be teaching on that the closer it gets. The Trump accounts start on July 5th of this year. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. 25 million children are going to get $250. That gives us access, assuming everyone has 2 children, to an extra 12 million families that never would have talked to us. I just conjured up that there's probably 5 million new children a year born. Well, in 2025, that's 5 million new families. Well, this is 2026. There's going to be another 5 million new children. Got the point? So we've got client potential out of our ears. Banks don't have it. Insurance companies don't have it. Credit unions don't have it. We have it. And it's just our decision that we want people in on this. That's the key thing. Now we have, thank you very much, John. We have Nick. Nick, when I was growing up, all I ever wanted to be was have a good job. Good job with good benefits. My dad worked in a factory. And when I went to, they had a thing once a year at his factory. And I noticed the bosses had white hats. They had to wear hats, hard hats. And the workers had red hats. And I said, well, I want to be one of those bosses. Well, how do you get a boss? You got to have a college degree. You got to have this, that. It never entered my mind that to have money coming in outside of my own efforts. No one ever talked to me about that. It was foreign to me. Just get a good job. In fact, when I was very, very successful here, my dad, first time he ever talked to me about the business, said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. I said, how much do you make an hour? Because my dad was an hourly employee. And I said, well, I don't figure. I said, well, what do you make a month? It's a lot, And he could not comprehend anything other than working as a working stiff. I went to college to become a working stiff. I wanted a career. I wanted a profession. I wanted to do something like every college graduate wants to become a oceanographer, right? That they want to become a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or a fireman or a policeman, which means what? I'm going to pay you per job. It never entered my mind to have income off the efforts of other people. If you have a problem with that, you're going to be a working stiff the rest of your life. It's amazing how a lot of guys don't have a problem with their wife making money, right? Making an override on their wife. And so every financial person, when I read all these books, they said one of the top 3 things you got to be thinking about, have income coming from multiple sources. You cannot think, I only want money off my efforts. You're going to wear out. You can't work hard enough. So we provide people with a tool called 1% off 100. Again, what you want for yourself, Nick, you want for others. What do you talk to people about? Well, what do you want for yourself? Well, I want my income coming from hundreds and thousands of people, not off me. So Nick Jackson.
Wow. Appreciate the intro, Coach. And good morning, everybody. Great training as always. And not to be repetitive in that area, but you guys just bring so much value every week. And so to piggyback off of John Rogers and really just everyone, so much information being divulged today. But the main thing is, Coach, you just mentioned about the Trump accounts. It's almost like when there's rain coming, the farmer that has seeds in the ground is very happy. And if we can put ourselves in a mindset of a farmer and go, I'm going to go put seeds in the ground, because what's coming is way more bigger than what we understand. And what's happening is like the wind is at our back right now for those that want to put seeds in the ground. And that'll lead me right to my first slide here, just talking about when we're having conversations, like John has mentioned, we're talking with people, right? But most people, never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. You know what I mean? 97% of the people, they need evidence. And those 97% of people, y'all, they control 3% of the profits. Then there's other people that say, I'm gonna walk by faith and not by sight. I'm gonna follow, if I, like Coach Bill, right? I'm gonna follow Art Williams when there's no evidence of success. But I believe in the crusade and the purpose of the company and what's going on. And those people, right, they have 97% of the profits. And who's right or who's wrong, right? Coach Bill just said his dad asked him about an hourly wage. Remember what Dennis Kimbrough said? Poor-minded people value their time, right, by how much you get paid per hour, right? They value cars and clothes, right? Middle income people, they value their time by a salary, right? Not how much my time is worth, but what were you willing to pay me, that a number we can negotiate on. Then wealthy people value their time differently, right? How many of y'all have been on an interview sometime? You ask somebody, what's the name of your CEO? And you'd be surprised how many people don't know the mission statement of the company they work for, the CEO, the leadership team. They're just there to get a check, right? But ask them and have them calculate how much the CEO makes per minute. It's astonishing, right? And so Coach Bill touched bases on why to be a vice president and really to give away what we do. And so I had a checkup right before the end of the year, and I was telling the doctors, man, the numbers are looking good. So yeah, every morning I drink some lemon juice, olive oil, and what's that other thing? Dadgummit, mixed up together, right? And it helps all these things and all that good stuff. And so anyway, it's been paying off. And so what are the benefits from a business standpoint? I'm gonna run through these real quickly, time-wise, so I can turn it back over to Coach Bill. Is number one, you get a chance to get your time back. How many of us have talked to somebody and they said, if the last 5 years, right, or the next 5 years are like the last 5 years, how happy would you be? How excited would you be? Most people go, I wouldn't be excited at all, right? So the number one thing we want to help you do is get your time back. Because right now you put in 20, 10, 5, 10, 15 years. What do you have to show for it? How about this one? How many of y'all get an investment check, residual check? Let's just say it's $500 a month. That may seem like it's small, but ask somebody, even after working 5 or 10 years, do you have 500 a month coming in, whether you show up or not? And the answer is gonna be no. So you're not building any equity. Number two, you get a chance to be your own boss, right? Be your own business. And so that means you got to walk a different way and step out of the line. Like we talked about last week, we got to step out of the line if we want something different. How many of us have sat down, John, you met with a guy that works at T-Mobile, makes 200 grand. Sometimes we sit down with these people, they can't even max out a Roth IRA. You know what I mean? So we look at his income and we get kind of jealous, but not realizing that this dude, most people at least, are in over their head when it comes to their income, and they're just barely making it. You know what I'm saying? And so you get a chance to be part of the right ism, right? There's communism, there's socialism, and there's capitalism. You know what I mean? They say he who has the most capital controls the land, right? And it's not, you don't hate the game, right? And understanding that good stuff, right? So you get a chance to build a company within a company and use the system that this company has put together, right? To for us to take our families to the next level with things. There's a turnkey system here, right? Number four, I get a chance to rescue my family. I get a chance to rescue myself and future generations, just like Coach Bill started the meeting with. If he fell off a cliff, there's a lineage there of his business continuing to go. Sir, ma'am, if you fell off a cliff, what would happen to your job? What happened to your income? Even if you were the postmaster at the post office, could you give that job to your kids? And the answer would be no. So there's no ownership there, right? So number five, you get security, right? You get 30 to 60 trillion dollars. That's on the low end, right? 30 million people doing Uber, like Coach talked about. They're looking for a way out. Then you got the industry continuing to sell these bad policies. So there's future money coming in, right? We recruited someone that's 24 years old. They were 10 years ago were 14 years old. There'll be no way we would have talked to them, right? But nevertheless, there's going to be a constant influx of people coming in and out of the market, multiple streams of income. When most people hear that, they think, I got to go and get into real estate. I got to go and get into stock trading and forex. Maybe I got to do Mary Kay. Maybe I can do drop shipping. Maybe I can go do Amway, whatever. That just means Coach Bill has a big box business. What does that mean? He has a guy in Oklahoma, I think, getting ready to go over $1 million, right? He's at $800,000, and he probably has 10 people, 15 people licensed on his team, right? But he's a great investment guy, but Coach Bill overrides him, right? Then he has James Watkins, right? That's an income stream. Then he has Frank Joyce. That's an income stream. Then he has, y'all get the point. You don't have to diversify in other businesses versus having a diversified business that Coach Bill overrides. That makes sense? That's something that we all get a chance to do, right? And so significance, right? What counts in life is not the mere fact that we live. It is the difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the lives we lead. And so most people, when you ask them, are you just kind of eking out in existence, or you feel like you're doing something significant? That's what Steve Jobs asked the CEO of Coca-Cola. Ultimately, he believed enough in what he was doing. He didn't say, oh, he's a CEO, I'm not going to prospect him. He said, no, I believe in what I do. I'm going to prospect this CEO. And on top of that, do you want to just push sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to freaking change the world? Yes or no? Right? And it kind of worked out. And so success is when I add value to myself. Significance is when I add value to others. Success is winning. Significance is helping others win. Success leaves a fingerprint on creation, while significance leaves a footprint on the soul. Think about the footprint that Art Williams has left in the life of Coach Bill Orender, just to name him alone, to where he is writing books to keep the flame going. He is having trainings to say, I'm going to keep the flame going. Right? I don't want it to die out. I don't want the Art Williams philosophy, the Art Williams way to die out. Number 8 is to have an evergreen business. I'm going to play it all. I'll play a little bit of this, I think. But just take a look at these names right quick and what it would mean to you all. I don't know if I'm sharing the volume. Let me see.
Get on TikTok right now. Your grandkids won't be eating from your glow-up videos. So you need to expand. An evergreen business has made money in the past, makes money now, and will make money long after you're gone. Want to have your mind blown? Boeing is a last name. The company was named by William Boeing after himself. Hilton is also a last name. So is Ferrari, Lamborghini, Chevrolet, Porsche, Ford, all with the family last name. Mercedes-Benz was named after Carl Benz. Burberry in the name of the Father, Son, and the House of Gucci. Versace, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, Fendi, Chanel, all last names. Bosch, Dell, Disney, Dyson, Harley-Davidson, Hewlett-Packard, Forbes, Guinness, Harrods, Hennessy, Jack Daniels, Kellogg, Lavazza, Mattel, McDonald's, Ritz-Carlton, Marriott, Rolls-Royce, Charles Rolls, and Henry Royce. We could do this all day long. Almost every brand.
So you talk about a brand name. Ultimately, what is your name going to be, remembered for, right? And stuff like that. It says, build your own table so your children won't have to ask a stranger for a spot at theirs. It says, I didn't come for money, but my children will, right? Generation world starts with one risk taker, right? Coincidentally, right, Coach Bill has that video called Risk Taker. He was the ultimate risk taker, and a lot of the founders do. And so he said, many of us are going to have to be the pioneer of our family. We talk to new recruits about getting started. You're going to be the pioneer. You're going to have to take some arrows in your back. You're going to be laughed at because you're going to go against the grain of what's been ingrained in your family and your bloodline. And so there's going to come with some heated moments, and you're going to have to battle those. And we can't make it more simpler than that, right? Number 10, you know, we got the math on our side. Take a look at on the right side here, this is what somebody has to do to get promoted at their job. They got to wait for somebody to die, right? Wait for somebody to quit, or for them to get fired. All three of those are bad. But can you imagine me just sitting there going, man, John Rogers will freaking just die. I can get promoted. How sad of an existence is that? You know what I mean? That I have to pray for evil for something so I can try to benefit. And so even if you did kiss enough butt, you got to work these numbers in this formula here, you know what I mean, to get promoted. And so it just doesn't work out. So obviously that person gets very frustrated and all that. And then, you know, on the special side, it's a unicorn business because of the RVP, I mean, the equity opportunity that's here, and no other company has it. You know what I'm saying? We should ask people about their, do you have options where you can just, for doing what you're doing anyway, they're going to give you company stock, right? Not saying you can buy it, but ultimately, this is what's going to be the wealth. Most employees don't take advantage of their own company's wealth. You know, last night, you know, Keith wrote a life app on a police officer, and finishing up today with the husband who is a member of a SWAT team, and you know, he said, I value all these things. Not this couple, I'm sorry, but another guy said, I value all these things, but I don't own any of those things. Meaning I wear a lot of Nike, but I don't own Nike stock. I wear a lot of Jordans. I don't own Jordan stock. So you believe enough from a consumer, but not as an owner. So that's another mindset that we want to help people with. Then another honorable mention is about leadership and speaking, and ultimately just cultivating leadership from that standpoint, critical thinking, people skills, and everything like that. Coach, I'm gonna end with this quick other slide. Let me transfer over to this one really quickly here, time wise. I got about 3 minutes with you guys. So it talks about opening the doors for success for other people. Just what R. Williams, just what Virginia Carter did with Coach Bill. You talk about being a vice president and giving ownership, giving away something that you want. You get a chance to open the door and let other people come in. When we have a corporate job, how many of us was anxious to let other people know I can get you in? No, in fact, I want to shut you out because I know you're my competition. I'm not going to open the door for you. You know what I mean? I got here. I'm not going to bring you in because I'm worried you may leapfrog me, right? But that's how we think when we're in the corporate world. So here we get a chance to give and open the door of success. And that's what rich people do. Rich people put people in on game, right? When Amazon says we're going to go and find one company to make our boxes, Chick-fil-A says we're going to find one company, they're going to make our napkins. They put other people in business. They open the door for success. When you're broke, you're not trying to open the door. You're trying to seal that door shut, right? So it says that RVP is not the goal, but it's part of the overall plan, right? Get into SNSD, being persistent in the future or in the present, focused on the future, learning how to stay focused in an unfocused and distracted society. Here's the part I want to really maybe wrap up with. This is Coach Bill's department store, and it has different areas inside of it, right? And that's how, from a business standpoint, y'all, mentally, we can kind of take a snapshot of this and go, this is how I'm going to have my business, right? For this is Walmart here. Then I look at the base shop and go, and Coach Bill said this in the beginning, what is his number one focus? He says, I am in the people business. I am in the HR business, the human resources, and the rest will take care of itself. So there's going to be these divisions, but Coach Bill says, I'm going to put more of my energy on the green box inside of this super center that I have. And we'll still sell electronics. We'll still sell food and retail, right? We're still going to do that, but I'm going to keep the factory moving. That makes sense, everybody. So real quickly, this is just an old slide, but it says that in these first boxes here, it doesn't have base shop on there. And so that was the kind of the secret to this thing here. It doesn't have base shop on the qualify as an SNSD. And that means that you are maxing out the compensation plan, right? Number 3, we take people to places they can't take themselves, right? They're stretched thin, they're worried, they're stressed, frustrated, they're getting squeezed, right? And we allow them to get on a different lane from a life standpoint. How many people, y'all, what they call it? I forget the words, like depressed they're on the job, but they're depressed. I forgot the name, but remember
Disengaged.
yeah. We used to say quietly quitting, right? At the beginning of the pandemic, where people they just couldn't take it, right, and stuff like that. And so y'all have seen this family vineyard before, but if you're brand new on here, this is how it starts. It starts with you planting a seed for us, myself, planting a seed for my family, right? And then letting that seed grow into this huge family vineyard that continues to produce things. And you just think about these people here that are on there, y'all. Conrad Hilton was filing for bankruptcy and saw some people in a hotel, some soldiers, and that's how the Hilton Hotel got started. He failed in another business, and because he was opportunity minded, saw some people in need and thought, wow, what if I can do a hotel that can help these soldiers, right? And so, but just think about these names here, and more importantly, the income that their families are still generating and living off of. And I'll end with the DuPont family. This is an old slide, right? But an old picture rather, but as of 2016, the family fortune was $14 billion. And so, so coach, anyway, the bigger picture and all of that, I know it's a lot rapid fire, but hopefully that talked about giving something away, number one, that benefits us, but number two, building something that outlives us. And that's exactly what you have done following Art Williams. And so appreciate the time this morning.
Hold on a second. Wow. Breathtaking. Geez. You know, I've seen a lot of presentations, but that is one of the top ones, Nick. Oh, take my breath away. But I want to ask you a question, Nick. And if you want to know what people value, used to say, look at their check register. I mean, who are they writing checks to? If you want to know what people value, look at their credit card statement. What are they buying? Where are they going? And people buy TVs because why? They want to watch it. I'm up in Chicago and people are going nuts over the Bears. They're spending $400 for a nosebleed section to go watch the game tonight. And it's probably going to cost $600-700 per person to a game they can watch on TV, but they value being there. Nick, what are the top three things you value? You, not Stephanie, you value that lead you to do the work you need to do. You're not writing a check, but you're writing a check for time. Talk about that, Nick. What are your top three? And now I'm going to ask some other people.
Yeah. You said it earlier, I look at my wife and where things are. When you have a health scare, sometimes that can really give you perspective. And so, we named my son after me, and I want my name to live on past me. I want the Jackson name coming from a family where I didn't have a father or really any great male representation. I said this before, every male in my family has been to prison except myself, right? Yet. And so some of these recruits, John, they wear you out, so you might have to commit a felony. But anyway, so number one, coach, from a man's perspective, I want to just change the perspective of a man in the Jackson family. And so I want to be a great representation to my son and show him how to treat a lady through his mom and his sister, and how a man should handle in those areas and stuff like that. Number two, oh man, as an athlete, once that gets behind you, what else can you get in a game for and go and compete for? And the legacy of, yeah, you can make dribble a basketball, Nick. Is that going to be your calling card for life? Because eventually you're going to have to hang that up. Is that going to be it? And probably maybe even more important than all of that, coach, and really realizing that the window of time is not on my side. I feel very young, but you know, I turned 40 years old. And so I don't feel 40, but definitely I don't think I look 40. But man, the window is closing, and it's not like you know, I have all day to kind of compress, and I'll get to it when I want to get to it. And so, legacy coach, the impression that I'm leaving for my son, the legacy, realizing that the hourglass, the time wise, is draining out. Um, is very important to me now. And so, time wise, I'm putting time in areas that um, are going to nurture something in the future. I don't want to waste any more time. That makes sense. And so, if I'm hanging out with someone, there's something there. I'm not just hanging out just because I don't have anything else to do. And I use the word hanging out loosely, but um, and that's it, Coach. This year we gave our kids, and I'll show this to y'all. I'll put it on the slide where you can buy your kids or you can gift stock, and it comes in like a pretty little frame and stuff like that. And so we did that for our kids, and then for my nieces and nephews that don't have anything, that's what we gave them for a Christmas gift and some books, and to just to be the one that says, man, when Coach, I mean when Uncle Nick comes around, it's not $100 bill like Coach Bill does, but you know, to break them off a little something to let them know that they can do it. You can do this. You have what it takes. And to the girls, I do see you and that you're beautiful and all that good stuff. To change the culture of my family is really, really important. So anyway, in a roundabout answer, Coach, that's it.
Nick, again, talk about girls because I've got them, and a girl will eventually want to marry a man that treats them the way their father treated them. And if you don't treat your daughters right, they're going to find a man who'll treat them just like that, and love on them, and care about them, and tell them how pretty they are, and hold their hand, and give them flowers, and adore them. And and everybody has a flashing sign on their chest, makes me feel special. Girls have one say, make me feel loved. And Nick, again, what you want for yourself, you want for others. And the answer is always this: price is an issue in the absence of value. So I always ask, how many did you recruit last month? Because if you're not recruiting at least double digit, you don't value 1% off 100. You don't value all the things you talked about, Nick. You don't value passive income. You don't value passing down something to your children. Rod Logan, what are the three things you value that Nick talked about? What are the top three things that it cause you to pay the price to receive that value? Rod, and then we're going to go to John Rogers.
Wow, Coach, that's good. I mean, that my mind is kind of racing the top three values. I think probably got more than that, those three, but one, I think, and I'm not sure if I'm understanding the. Well, you know what? Let me get clarity first. So you want the top three
Not top three, just any three that come to your mind. Now, that he
regarding
talked about, was it time with your family, ownership, evergreen? I love it. Evergreen business.
I would say first and foremost would be my spiritual life. That would be like my top value, and making sure that I'm spending adequate time, because that's the foundation from which I stand, and so want to make sure that that's intact, spend adequate time. So that's a high value. And then I guess I guess from a business, well, in addition to the spiritual, my health, and being, as healthy as I possibly can, spending time, and those are non-negotiables, those two. And then my family, that's another non-negotiable, being present for my family, particularly the season I just came through, being there when they need it the most. But from a business standpoint, Coach, the three things that I value is one, um, I guess being a servant, being able to deliver for families, and in multiple ways, where we can really bring value and rescue families from the brink of financial devastation. The second thing I value is the ability to have the opportunity to build a business that's going to last, beyond me, beyond my efforts, and something that can, that my kids can benefit from, and like you said, planting that seed, that evergreen seed, and just making sure that these good works will continue long after I'm transitioned. And then I think the third thing is really I think creating I guess, the generational wealth. Like you said, if something, God forbid, you fall off a cliff, and I don't want you to do any hiking anytime soon, Coach. But if anything happens to me, I want to make sure, that my income will be, significant income will continue on for, like you said, like 100 years, kind of like your upline, Jenny Carter. So she's still impacting. I mean, she's still relevant in her family even today. She's been gone, what, 13, 14 years now, Coach? And so
15, yeah.
15 years. And so, but she is still, having an impact, a significant impact every month. Her children, her grandchildren know who she is. Her great grandchildren know who she is. And that's the type, having meaningful life where it just doesn't end when my time expires.
Again, that all comes from recruiting. Virginia Carter was not in the financial services business. She was in a people getting business. Got that? You cannot have generational wealth with just you. Even if you just sell securities, 80% of those clients leave you in 5 years after you die. And you put your time to get what you value the most. I want every one of you to have 1,000 RVPs, 2,000 RVPs. I want you to have paid, like me, I want to have 2 million death claims paid. Talk about value to our society. We can change the world. I think these Trump accounts and Dell accounts are going to change America, because the kids now will grow up with skin in the game and not just say, well, the government will take care of me down the road. No, now they want to invest. And last one, John Rogers, then we'll get out of here.
God, my wife, and my mom. And and I'll be quick, with God being a value in my life, like that, the thought of how my life used to be before knowing who Christ was is crazy to me. I don't know how people operate with the ups and downs of life without Christ. I remember Josh Huffman losing Janice, and we got to watch him go through that process. And all he did was glorified him. I don't need to understand it, all these things, but me and Bert got to watch that. And without him, like, I don't know how people do this business as an RVP, to be quite honest. It's needed for the peace in your life, like the peace to be able to go through things. My wife is a blessing, and I've been through a divorce. And so, like, knowing after growing up in this business, what it takes to be a husband, what it takes to be a man in the house. Coach, I wake up every day. I was about to write her this, and I'm like, I legitimately wake up every day. I was like, how can I try to impress her? It's very much like, and I know that has to be valued, because God, that pleases God. For me to value my wife and try to impress my wife and take these steps every single day to make her like me more. I know she'll love me, but I want her also like me. That's important. And then last but not least, obviously, is my mom. And I was thinking about this, and we talk so much about our wives and all that stuff, and mine used to be my kids, but I wasn't getting up, I wasn't setting appointments, I wasn't doing anything. I was like, it's my kids. I'm like, no, it ain't. That's not your wife. She's not doing anything different. My mom's sacrifice for the years, and when I look back on at 42 years old, when I was 13, 12, 13, all those, my mom's sacrifice, I don't know if I can ever repay her for the things that she has done. I'm fighting back tears at 11 o'clock in the morning, but Tommy Newberry said this. He was like, name the 3 most influential people in your life, I believe, and what's their most common thread. And it's crazy because I was like, Jesus Christ, my mom, Art Williams, and all three common thread was sacrifice, exchange, I like to call it. They gave up something for a greater good. And so being able to do this business to retire my mom, and I need to spend more time with her. But like I it's gotta happen because she's 72. So she doesn't have a ton of time left on this earth. God's been blessing her, but those are my the three most valuable things in my life currently, that I fight for every single day.
Well, thank you very much, John. Thank you, everyone. Remember this, your priority should not be God, family, business. They got to be reorganized. Should be God, family, God, business. If God's not involved in every one of your things that you value the most, you won't max out on that thing. And I'm like John, I'm like Rod, like so many of you. If all the things I wish for you in your life, and that's why there's something called Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers and Hearts of Beauty are two para-religious organizations where we recruit people, we get them to go to these things, and they change their life spiritually. Ultimately, we're recruiting all these people. That's why, Rod, I want you to have 1,000 RVPs. Look at it, the effect, 1,000 people. I told this to my goddaughter. I want to be with you in heaven. I don't want to be there without you. My children, I want them in there. I want you, all of you, in heaven with me. And I'm telling you, God is sitting there ready to bless you, reward you for what? Serving his people. God, I love what Carolyn Myers said, we cannot ever serve God. We can only serve his people. And when you serve his people, you serve God. God bless. We'll talk to you all next week. Tremendous, tremendous training. God bless. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.